So today is a very auspicious day, the appearance day of Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and also the disappearance day of Ramachandra Kaviraj. So we'll start with Gopal Bhatta Goswami Maharaj to understand his glories, his greatness. So before I start, I pray to all the Vaishnavas here assembled, take the blessings of all of you assembled here, and also on Guru and Gauranga, and also of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, because Gopal Bhatta Goswami Maharaj, as well as Ramachandra Kaviraja, they were all involved in Gaura Leela very much. And because they were involved very much in Gaura Leela, very essential that before I talk about them, I take the blessings of Gaur Nitai and also of the Vaishnavas, because today these two great acharyas are also going to teach us how we want us to behave with Vaishnavas. The Vaishnava etiquette, what we hear, how it has to be, that also they are teaching us in the process. So, Gopal Bhatta Goswami Maharaj was one of the 6 Goswamis. He was one of the Goswamis, 6 Goswamis. He is from South India. He was born sometime in 1510, I think so. The date is taken the date. So he was born in a Brahmana family in South India, and in Sri Sampradaya it was. It was in a village on the banks of the river Kaveri, where you also got Sri Rangam temple. Those who have gone to South India would know about the Sri. How many of you have gone to Sri Rangam temple? Oh, quite a few. Okay. So, his parents, basically Venkata Bhatta was a great devotee of Sri Ranganatha Swami. There were 3 brothers, Tirumala Bhatta, Venkata Bhatta and Prabodha Bhatta. This Prabodha Bhatta later on became Prabodhananda Saraswati. You would have heard the name of Prabodhananda Saraswati. He was great. He is the one who later on became Prabodhananda Saraswati. And Gopala Bhatta, he took his entire studies. He learned everything from Prabodha Bhatta, or the Prabodhananda Saraswati. He was born in around 1510, and appeared in around 1500, and that was a time around 1510 and 1513 is the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started touring South India. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to South India. He came on the banks he visited several temples and several kshetras in the South India. And finally, he came to Sri Rangam. And when he came to Sri Rangam, he took his bath and everything, went and inside had the darshan of the Supreme Lord, Ranganatha Swami. And then afterwards, he started with his glorious Hari Kirtan inside the temple. So he started chanting the holy name of the Lord. Jai Shri Gaurnathai ki Jai, Radharas Bihari ji ki Jai. So he started his glorious Harinam Kirtan inside, and everybody was astounded by the way he was conducting the Harinam inside. Venkata Bhatta was there also, and he was observing this sannyasi. Normally what happens is many sannyasis come and go, and not everybody exhibits the same bhava. But here Venkata Bhatta found Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibiting all the lakshanas of a great devotee of the Lord, of a great Vaishnava. And when he saw that, he could understand this is not an ordinary sannyasi. He must be a great personality. So after the kirtan was over, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had fallen down, he was rolling, was perspiring, he had become unconscious, all these things were happening. So what happened was, Venkata Bhatta met him after that and invited him to his house. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed, and he came to his house. And when he came to his house, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was served nice prasadam. After the nice prasadam was served, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to leave. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to leave, Venkata Bhatta told him, where are you going now? This is Chaturmasya, and it is the evening time now already. And it's going to become dark, there are heavy rains everywhere. Why are you trying to go out now? Why don't you stay with us? It's Chaturmasya, you can stay with us all the time. Because Venkata Bhatta could make out that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a great devotee of the Supreme Lord. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed, and he stayed back for 4 months. He stayed in Venkata Bhatta's house. And during this time, he was giving completely Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. He was explaining all those things to Venkata Bhatta. And Gopal Bhatta, who was there as a small boy, he was only about 5-6 years old. And as a small boy of 5-6 years old, he was very closely observing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his movements, what he is doing, everything. And one day, what happened was, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's secretary, Govinda Das, he was there at that time. And Govinda Das explained the childhood pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because after all, Gopal Bhatta is a small boy of 5 years old. What will attract him? The childhood pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very naughty in his childhood days. He used to do all the pranks in Navadip Dham. He used to do that, all those things, and in Nadiyad. And so all those things were heard by Gopal Bhatta, and he was very impressed. And that night, afterwards, when he went to sleep, he started getting a dream. He saw so many things. He saw Nadiyad, he saw the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes in Nadiyad. He saw that. He could see Nityananda Prabhu, he could see Advaita Prabhu, both of them were hugging him and all these things. And he could also see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming. And he was going closer and closer to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to hug him. And he was going closer, closer, very close he has gone. He is going to hug Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His dream broke. He broke his dream and he got up and he realized, oh, this is a dream that I am having. So immediately what he did, he said, let me run to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let me go and see. So he went to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's room. And when he went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's room, what did he see there? He saw Krishna standing there with a flute in hand and playing the flute. And when he saw Krishna playing the flute there, he immediately fell at the feet of Krishna and said, this is the Rupa which I want to see. This is the person whom I want to meet. He fell at his feet. And when he got up, he saw again Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his sannyasa Rupa. He was standing there. So he didn't understand. So he asked, what is happening, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What is happening? So he said, don't tell anyone. I am none other than the Supreme Lord Himself. And keep this very, very confidential. You should not open your mouth and tell anybody about this Leela, what I have displayed to you. And he also blessed him and told him, he hugged him quite well. And he told him, you have got a lot of work to do in Vrindavan. You will have to go to Vrindavan. Later on, after going to Vrindavan, you will also become a Diksha Guru after going to Vrindavan. And you also will have to do a lot of writings. There's a lot of work that you need to compose. You will have to do that. And when that appropriate time comes, I will call you and I will take you to Vrindavan. He said. So they said, all right, okay, that was over. Now again, the Chaturmasya is getting over. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is preparing to leave. Again, at that time, nobody wants Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to leave. So everybody is crying and everybody wants Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to stay back. And at that time, Venkata Bhatta is talking to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and saying, why don't you stay for some more days? At least till the next Ekadashi, which is just 2 weeks more. You can stay here, no? You stay here and then afterwards go relaxed. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, all right. He agrees to stay back. For 2 weeks he is there. And during this time, he is having a very nice pastime with Venkata Bhatta Prabhu. Venkata Bhatta is a very exalted devotee coming in Sri Sampradaya. The Ramachandra Sampradaya is coming. And here now, what he is doing is that so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking Venkata Bhatta, you tell me, why did Lakshmi leave Narayana and come to Vrindavan? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Venkata Bhatta is saying, Lakshmi Devi is a very chaste lady, and there is no difference between Narayana and Krishna. So if she comes there to meet Krishna, there is nothing wrong. What is there? She is after all coming to meet her husband only. So he says, yeah, correct, true, what you are saying is right, there is no difference between Krishna and Narayana. But tell me, why Lakshmi Devi did not get entrance into that Brajalila, and why is it that she is still doing tapas in Belvan? Anyone gone to Belvan here? If you have gone to, not many, just 3-4%. So if you go to Belvan, you will find Lakshmi Devi's Murti is there, doing the tapas. So he asks, why is Lakshmi Devi still doing tapas in Belvan? So for that, Venkata Bhatta had no answer. He had no reply to give that. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he tells Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you are the Supreme Lord, you know everything. Why are you asking me so many questions? Why don't you explain the whole thing to me and make it clear to me? Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains the whole philosophy. Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy explains and makes Venkata Bhatta understand how everyone has come from the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna only. All the different avatars and everything that comes, all the expansions that have taken place, everything has come only from Lord Krishna. So he explains that beautifully to him. He accepts that, and the entire family, all the 3 brothers and everybody, they become the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they take up complete philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and start following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings and glorifying and expanding those teachings everywhere. As days go by, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has left. Now, Venkata Bhatta is also, Gopal Bhatta Goswami is also growing now. And he has become big. And his parents have also become old. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to leave, Gopal Bhatta Goswami wanted to go with him. He said, no, you cannot come. Your time is not still ripe to come. You wait back. At the appropriate time, I will call you. Till the time you keep serving your parents. So he was serving his parents very nicely and was also learning the Shastras and everything from Prabhuda Bhatta. And he learned everything. He became a Nipun on the Shastras. And a time came when his parents had become really old, and it was time for the parents to leave this world also. So when it was time for the parents to leave the world, they caught hold of Gopal Bhatta Goswami's hand and told him that, look, it's time for us to leave now. We'll be leaving very soon. You need to go and meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and serve him nicely. Saying this, what they did, both the husband and wife, both of them together sat before the deities, started praying, taking out the Harinam completely, got immersed on the Supreme Lord, and both of them gave up their bodies at the same time. Simultaneously they gave up their bodies. Very rare, is it not? You don't hear this, where both husband and wife, they leave their bodies at the same time. In the case of Venkata Bhatta and his wife, they left at the same time, and giving instruction to their son to go and be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had given instructions already to Gopal Bhatta that you have to go to Vrindavan and meet Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami and be with them, serve them and learn from them more. So what did Gopal Bhatta do after the disappearance of his parents? He immediately ran to Vrindavan. And when he went to Vrindavan, Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Lokanath Goswami, all these people were waiting, all these various Goswamis and the different Vaishnavas were waiting to receive them, receive Gopala Bhatta. And they said, we have heard about you from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already told us that one boy from the South India, he will come and he's a great Vaishnava. When he comes, you take care of him and you keep him here and teach him everything. So they said, we heard this and you have come, we are so happy and all these things. They hugged him, they drenched him with the tears of love, everything they did. And afterwards, the things were going to start there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri. He was with Gadadhar Pandit there. And both of them were very busy absorbing this Srimad Bhagavatam. Now the way Srimad Bhagavatam was being studied by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit was, whenever they used to read Srimad Bhagavatam, tears used to roll down from their eyes. And the entire Bhagavatam book will become wet with their tears. Now we have to compare how they were studying Bhagavatam and how we are studying Bhagavatam, is it not? We read Bhagavatam just somehow or the other, I want to finish the page, understand, go forward, understand the next one, like that we are going. In this case, in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Prabhu, they were totally absorbed. They were digesting completely Srimad Bhagavatam and getting immersed and merged with the Leelas in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Gadadhar Pandit that I haven't heard from Sanatan and Rupa for a very long time. I do not know whether Gopala Bhatta has come there or not. Nothing I know. I'm really in anxiety. What is happening now? When he was talking this, at the same time, a messenger came to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he came to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and gave me the complete message written by Sanatan and Rupa Goswami. So he opened it and saw what it is like. And that letter was saying how Gopala Bhatta Goswami has reached already Vrindavan and how glorious he is, how mild and gentle in his behavior, how learned he is. Everything was so much of praise for Gopala Bhatta in that letter returned to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya was so happy. And in his happiness, what he did? He gave his kopin. He gave his shawl. And the asan where he used to sit, the wooden asan, as a gift to Gopala Bhatta. So it was given to Gopala Bhatta. Gopala Bhatta got the kopin, shawl and the asan. He kept it one after the other. And he will pay his pranams to kopin, then he will pay his pranams to the shawl, then he will pay his obeisances to the wooden asan. Again he will pay his obeisance to kopin and to the shawl and to the asan. And this will go on like this. He will repeatedly keep on giving this, paying his pranams. See, there is one thing we have to understand. It says, if the kopin of a acharya is given, it removes, and if you pray that we accept and pray, and really, if you want to tie it on your head, that will take away the lust from the mind. Very important point given, Who is not lusty? Who doesn't have that? Who is not affected by lust? Everybody gets affected by the lust. And to be freed from that lust, very essential that we worship these paraphernalia of the great acharyas. For example, we have got this Prabhupada's room upstairs, and you find there these several paraphernalia of Prabhupada has been kept there. And you see, recently I had brought some people there, and they were telling me, when we come into this room, we get a different feeling. Why is it so? They were asking. That's simply because there is no difference between Acharya and his paraphernalia. There is no difference between the Acharya and the paraphernalia. That's why Prabhupada was saying that although I may leave, I will still live with you. His devotees, his disciples were asking, Prabhupada, what will happen after you leave? He said, no, I will not leave. I will always be there. He said, no, but in case once you give up this body. He said, still I will be there. I will live through my books. You read it and I will get my association. He was saying that. So like that only here also, the paraphernalia is there. And Gopal Bhatta is, by his example, is showing that there is no difference between the Acharya and his paraphernalia. So worshipping the paraphernalia is as good as worshipping the Acharya himself. So he is paying all these respects and everything, is doing that. And gradually he is learning and is serving both the great Goswamis and all the other Goswamis. Everybody is happy. And one day he is getting a dream again. And in that dream, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling that, look, it's time you go to Kali Gandaki. Gandaki in Nepal, Gandaki river. You go to the Gandaki river and take the Shaligram and bring it here. You know, bring the Shaligram and you start worshipping Shaligram. There's a one instruction given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and what he did, immediately the next day, he started going to, he started off for Gandaki. Now again you see this, his master has given him an instruction saying that you go to Nepal and collect it. From Vrindavan he has to walk all the way. There is no plane or no vehicle available at that time. He has to walk all the way up to Gandaki river. He walked all the way up to Gandaki river and he wanted to collect the Shaligram. And when he went there, he just stood near the river and he said, let me, morning time, let me offer some water to Surya Dev. So he stood there, he picked up the water in his hand, in his folded hands, he closed his eyes and he picked up the water from there, and to his surprise he saw that there is a Shaligram in his hand. So he said, hey, what is a Shaligram has come? I want to offer water to Surya Dev. So he put it back into the river, the entire water. Again he collected water from the river, and again the same Shaligram came in his hand. So again he put it back and again he collected. The third time also the same Shaligram came in his hands. So when the same Shaligram came in his hands, he remembered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction saying that when you go to Gandaki river and pick up the first Shaligram what you pick up, that is yours, that you should take it and bring it. So he understood. So this is the Shaligram that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants me to take and bring it to Vrindavan. So he brought it. And again he was putting his hand to take water further, another Shaligram came in his hand. So like that totally, Gopal Bhatta Goswami collected another 11 Shaligrams. So totally how many? 12 Shaligrams he had altogether. So he was to come back. And when going towards Gandaki Nadi, what he had done was, he stayed in the house of a Brahmana there. And that Brahmana had two sons. One was Gopinath and another was Damodar. These two sons were there. And these two sons became the disciples of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and they also traveled with him, along with him to Vrindavan. So everybody came to Vrindavan. And they came to Vrindavan, he kept the Shaligram Shila, everything, and he started worshipping Shaligram Shila. But then afterwards, his mind started thinking that, look, Radha Govindaji is there, Radha Gopinaji is there, Radha Madan Mohan is there. They are all being so nicely decorated. You know, then the deity is there, they put the kundala in the ears, they put anklets in the hands, then they put the anklets on the feet, they wear nice dhoti for the Lord, dress up, nice shringar is being done for the Lord. Whereas, I am not able to do any nice shringar for my Shaligram. So what do I do? So it started causing some sort of distress and pain for him. I really genuinely want to do this seva for the Supreme Lord. I want to really decorate him, make him really look so nice, just like Gopinath or Govindaji. So I want to really decorate and really do some great shringar for the Supreme Lord. He was thinking like this. And thinking like this, he was feeling so disturbed and so disappointed that he is not able to do. That night again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in his dream and told him that, look, I can understand your anxiety. Don't worry about it. From this Shaligram, the Lord will manifest. He will come. But you have to be patient. And the manifestation of the Supreme Lord depends upon your sincerity and intensity with which you pray to Him. That's a very important point to understand, Our prayers will always have to be really intense, sincere, and really focused. We hear this, like we also chant our rounds regular basis, is it not? On a daily basis. I mean, the mind keeps traveling everywhere at that time. The mind never remains constant in one place. It keeps on traveling everywhere. But the progress, again, depends upon with what sincerity and intensity we chant. This Prabhupada explains very nicely in Bhagavatam. When you get into the 5th canto, that in one of the chapters this explanation comes, where he is explaining that if you are chanting well, chanting has got its own benefits. Its own benefits, it has got lots of material miseries and everything gets, you are able to face all those difficulties. Not that you will be free from difficulties, but you are more prepared to face all those difficulties. All these things will happen. But the progress in terms of devotion for the Lord, in terms of getting that love for the Lord, much depends upon the sincerity and intensity with which one chants. So here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also telling the same thing to Gopal Bhatta Goswami, that the Lord's manifestation from this Shaligram Shila, Jai Shri Radha Ras Bihari Ji ki Jai, Radha Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Ram Lakshman Janaki Hanuman ki Jai. So he says, it all depends upon the intensity and sincerity with which you pray to the Supreme Lord, and according to that, He will manifest. But still he is praying every day, crying to the Lord, please manifest, I want to see you. I am not able to see you, please manifest, please manifest. He keeps crying. But really nothing is happening. And then he doesn't know what to do. And on Narasimha Chaturdashi day, there is a real explosion in his mind. Because everybody is talking of how Narasimha Deva appeared from the stone, from the pillar. A pillar is what? Nothing but stone. So he appeared from the pillar. And if Narasimha Deva could appear from that pillar, why can't my Lord appear from the Shaligram Shila? I don't understand that. He should be able to appear from the Shaligram Shila. No then. Because there he has given that boon, or what do you call it, that favor to Prahlad Maharaj. He said, so why am I not like Prahlad Maharaj? Why am I not praying like Prahlad Maharaj? Why am I not able to get that same intense feeling like Prahlad Maharaj and pray to the Supreme Lord? Why is he not manifesting himself? This was a great, sorrow in the heart of Gopala Bhatta Goswami. So he started praying very intensely, but then he became very angry. Only great devotees can become angry. If we try all those things, we will commit more and more aparats. Already we have got sufficient aparats. So here, what he did, he he gave a warning to the Shaligram Shila. Look, now I am going for a bath to Yamuna river. By the time I come back, you better manifest yourself here. Otherwise I will take all these Shaligrams, tie it around my neck and jump into the sea and commit suicide. I will not wait for any more. He says. He goes to the Yamuna river to take bath, and when he comes, the Lord has already manifested from Shaligram Shila. And who is that Lord? Radharaman. Radharaman has already manifested there. And what is the size of Radharaman? It's only this much, not much. So beautiful deity Radharaman. He has manifested, and Gopala Bhatta is excited. He is so much excited on seeing this Lord's manifestation, and he starts praying and worshipping and teaching everything. He's doing all those things. Gopala Bhatta Goswami is also becoming old. His body is becoming old. Now, the question comes is, who will take care of this Radharamanji? Now, someone has to take care. And there appears to be nobody to take care of him. So, who will take care of him? So, he calls Gopinath, his first disciple, whom he met. Told Gopinath, Gopinathji, please, you will have to take care of this Shaligram Shila and continue the worship of Radharaman. So Gopinath says, but you see, the thing is this, if you have to continue to worship the Shaligram Shila and the deities, etc., you should be from a Grahastha, which means Gopinath has to get married. And Gopinath wanted to remain a brahmachari throughout his life. So Gopinath said, Guruji, give any instruction, but please do not ask me to get married. I will not be able to do this. When he said that, so he calls the brother Damodar and tells Damodar, please, you take care of the Shaligram Shila and the worship of Radha Ramanji. So Damodar agrees. Damodar says, all right, I will do that. And he takes it up and he gets married. And now, till date, the people who are coming in that lineage, they're all from Damodar Prabhu only. They are the ones in that family, they are coming and they are taking care of Radharaman. So time comes for Gopala Bhatta Goswami also to leave his body, and when the time comes, he is sitting before Radharaman, fully involved, fully dedicated, fully absorbed in thinking of Radharaman, chanting the holy name. He gives up his body in Vrindavan. He gives up his body. Now, all these Goswamis had written the different books, So what is the contribution of Gopala Bhatta Goswami in terms of books? You have to understand, Hari Bhakti Vilas is there, right? Hari Bhakti Vilas was written by Sanatan Goswami, correct? But the contents for Hari Bhakti Vilas was written by Gopala Bhatta Goswami. Similarly, Shad Sandarbha, what is there? Shad Sandarbha, who is the one who has written that, Jiva Goswami, correct. Jiva Goswami is written. But again, the content for that was written by Gopala Bhatta Goswami. He wrote the raw content and gave everything. It was refined, it was put in order and developed and composed as a book by Sanatan Goswami and Jiva Goswami. Because there's not much mention of Gopala Bhatta Goswami anywhere in the, even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, very few references only of Gopala Bhatta Goswami, So that is the, so all these great Goswamis, they had written all the books. And they were wondering, now we have written all these books, how are we going to preserve it and give it to the coming generations? That is very important. The whole thing has to go down to the coming generations. How do we do it? Then that is how they identified Narottam Das Thakura, Shyamananda Prabhu, and one more. Who is that? Srinivasa Acharya, correct. Srinivasa Acharya, and handed over the term. And they become the custodians of that entire, all the teachings, Bhagavatam, etc. And then they brought it, and because of that, they copied into several handwritten manuscripts. They made several manuscripts of this, copied this, and that's what we have got it, and that is a benefit we are getting from all these people, great Acharyas' work. Okay? With this, Gopala Bhatta Goswami's glories, Shila Gopala Bhatta Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Now, this is his appearance day, and we also have today the disappearance day of Ramachandra Kaviraj. So, Ramachandra Kaviraja, again, he was born in Bengal, and one of the great symptoms he exhibited one of the great symptoms of a devotional service, let me put it like that, of a devotee, one of the great symptoms of a devotee he exhibited was this intimate, sincere friendship. You know? So in that context only, he gets praised by Narottama Das Thakura in his song, is it not? Daya karo Shri Acharya Prabhu Shri Nivasa Ramachandra Sangha Mage Narottama Dasa. Ramachandra Sangha Mage. So where Narottama Das Thakura is explaining, we all need the kripa, daya of our acharyas, no doubt. But at the same time, we also need good sangha, you know. And that in that context of good sangha only is bringing Ramachandra's name, because Ramachandra was such a gentle, thorough personality that he was a true friend to anyone, right from his birth. And he is the disciple of Srinivasa Acharya, Ramachandra, you know. So here, you know, all of us, for example, here, all of you are in this temple, we are in the association of several devotees, and what is happening is that all of us have got friends, our own friend circle. Some are intimate, more close, some are not that close, all these things we have. And it is very natural, even at that time, the great devotees, they also had their intimate friends with whom they used to move and exchange their hearts, open up their hearts with their intimate friends. Now here, Ramachandra Kaviraja, right from his childhood, he was very, very gentle. His parents were Chiranjeev Sen and Sunanda Mataji. He was their son. Right from his childhood, he was very gentle. He'll behave very nicely with everyone. Everyone liked him in the village. In the village, he never made any distinction between anybody. He was equal to all, behaved in a very gentle manner, and the people started liking him very much. The elderly people in the village, the elderly Vaishnavas also there, they were always discussing amongst themselves, this Ramachandra Kaviraja doesn't appear to be an ordinary boy. He must be one of the incarnations of the deities, of the devatas, one of the incarnations of the devatas, because of which he is able to behave in this manner. Otherwise, it's not possible for ordinary human beings to behave in this way. He gradually grew up. He learned his shastras and everything. And from his father himself, he was learning all these things, because his father was also a great Vaishnava. But what happened was, as he was growing up, his father left his body. So when his father left his body, obviously Ramachandra Kaviraja and his brother, you know, they were small boys. They were not big boys, you know. So they couldn't take care of themselves independently. So they were sent to the grandfather's house. And the grandfather was a great worshipper of Durga Devi. His father was a worshipper of, he was a Vaishnava. He was a worshipper of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Whereas the grandfather was a worshipper of Durga Devi. And when he went to stay with his grandfather, of course, the influence of all the people in the house will always be there on everyone. So that influence was there even on Ramachandra Kaviraja. So he was also learning what it is, shastras and everything was learning. And he also, and it's a family of physicians. So he also learned how to be a physician. He also became a physician. And gradually it was time for Ramachandra Kaviraja to get married. So Ramachandra Kaviraja got married, and he was being taken in palanquin. That is a system where both the bride and groom, they are placed in the palanquin and are taken in a procession. And in the procession, when it was coming, it came to that village. That village name is called Yajagram. You know, they came to that Yajagram. They were passing through that village called Yajagram. And in that Yajagram, at that time, Srinivasa Acharya had come. And Srinivasa Acharya was sitting there, and he was giving a pravachan there. And he had many devotees many people had gathered and they were listening to what Srinivasa Acharya was saying. And at that time what happened was, when he was doing that, the palanquin was coming and Srinivasa Acharya could see the groom sitting in that palanquin. And he saw that this is a bright boy sitting in the palanquin. And at the same time, Ramachandra Kaviraja also saw Srinivasa Acharya and their eyes met with each other. And they could see that. Srinivasa Acharya was asking the people, who is this man who is getting married and going? Do you know him? So they say, yes, he is Ramachandra Kaviraja, he is a great Kavi. And he is staying in the next village. And he is a great personality, he is a physician, he is very gentle. They were all giving profusely nice description of Ramachandra Kaviraj. This palanquin went from that village, it went to their village, and there was a big dum-dam. Wedding means you know how it is like in the evenings. And Indian weddings are always noisy also, is it not? So there was a big function, everybody had come, so many people had come, feast was being served, big dinner is going on, everything is going on, so many people are coming and congratulating them and all these things. But Ramachandra Kaviraja's mind is on Srinivasa Acharya. I was thinking, I have seen Srinivasa Acharya, yes, I am totally impressed with him, I want to go and meet him. This is the same thing that is running in his head. So what he did, the next day, he started and came to this village, Yajagram, he came, and fell at the feet of Srinivasa Acharya like a stick. Srinivasa Acharya picked him up and hugged him and said, I wanted to meet you, I've heard about you. And it looks like we were old friends. That's the way it is. Just like I met Narottam Das Thakura in another place, like that the same feeling, what feeling I had when I met Narottam Das, similarly the same feeling I'm getting when I see you, when I meet you, and I want you to be with me. He says that. So he says, even I want to be with you. I also like you. So both of them, the liking was mutual. And from that time onwards, he became a disciple of Srinivasa Acharya. He became a disciple of Srinivasa Acharya and learned the Shastras further from him. Learned the Vaishnava philosophy from Srinivasa Acharya, stayed for quite some time. After that, he had to go back to his house. And when he went, by this time he had been initiated already. Everything is done. And when he went back to his grandfather's house as a Vaishnava. And what are they? They are the great worshippers of Durga Devi. So he went there to their house, shaven with shika, kantimala, with his bead bag, everything, with the dhoti, all this, and they went there. And the people at home, they were very upset to see him. What have we done? We are all worshippers of Durga Devi and you become a Vaishnava? How could you do this? You can never do such a thing, he said. When he said that, then he said, no. Worship. Then he explained to them, worship of Krishna is as good as worshipping of any other devatas. Everybody is included in that worship. They were having a great debate, those people. How can Shiva not be greater than Krishna? What is the big difference? Ours is Shiva. Shiva is the supreme. They were explaining all these things. But Ramachandra remained undaunted. He was not disturbed by whatever they said. He replied to them very nicely and explained to them how Supreme Lord Krishna is the one whom everyone should worship. And worshipping and satisfying Krishna means satisfying all the devatas, including Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. He explained all these things to them. They accepted. They couldn't do anything more than that. And this man continued with his journey of preaching and doing everything. Afterwards, Srinivasa Acharya had already left that place. And Ramachandra Kaviraja got that intense desire to go to Vrindavan. That desire comes, is it not? Especially when the Kartik month comes, just about 4-5 months before Kartik itself, everybody starts talking. Hare, now we have to go to Vrindavan, we'll have to do that. That's a time when all the great all the senior disciples of Srila Prabhupada come there, various Vaishnavas come there. And if you get an opportunity to associate with such great Vaishnavas, great senior disciples of Srila Prabhupada, so many Maharajas are there. If you are getting an opportunity to associate with them, will that not be really beneficial for us? So he wanted to go there and he wanted to associate with them. So when he got this intense desire to go to Vrindavan, it's not that, okay, I'm going, I will go to Vrindavan. He didn't do like that. I mean, which is very common nowadays. If someone wants to go somewhere, chalo, I will go. I don't have to ask anybody. He didn't act independently. Instead, what he did, he went to where all the Vaishnavas were there. He prayed to them. He requested them, please bless me. Please give me the permission to go to Vrindavan. Very important point for us to learn, this one. That our progress very much depends upon the Vaishnavas' blessings. If the blessings are not there, how much soever I put in effort, the real progress does not really take place. So for that real progress, we need to have that complete blessings, that heartfelt blessings of the Vaishnavas. So he had a very excellent demeanor he had, very pleasing demeanor he had. Over and above that, when he is coming and praying to all these Vaishnavas, requesting for their permission, and when he is doing that, they are all very impressed. And what is the way to do it? Only way is being very, very humble before the Vaishnavas. Is it not? So, when we don't show off to others, and when we really are very humble in heart and express ourselves very genuinely to the senior Vaishnavas, automatically they shower their blessings upon us. So we don't have to do any extra effort to impress any of the senior Vaishnavas by our, boisterous activities or anything like that. What impresses the senior Vaishnavas is only our humility. That's what impresses. And humility is the only way where one can make progress in devotional service also. So, he was so humble. They gave him the permission. Yeah, you go, no problem. Immediately started from there and came to Vrindavan. And Srinivas Acharya was there in Vrindavan at that time. He met Srinivas Acharya, and Srinivas Acharya was very happy to see him, and he introduced Kaviraj to all the other Goswamis, because at that time all the other Goswamis were also in Vrindavan. So he was introduced to all the other Goswamis, and the Goswamis also said, we have heard about you, that you are a great devotee, you have got a very gentle nature, and everything they said, and they were all, they all made all necessary arrangements for him to stay, and they took care of him so nicely. Kaviraja impressed everybody with his gentle behavior, with his friendly behavior, with a pleasant face, pleasant talk, which is one of the qualities of a Vaishnava. He had all those things, and with that he impressed all the Goswamis, and Goswamis started blessing him nicely. And now, what did he do? Ramachandra Prabhu, he's still a Ramachandra Prabhu only at that time. He has not become Ramachandra Kaviraja. He is Ramachandra Prabhu. What he did, because he had already that built up poetic things in his mind, in his heart. He was a natural poet in the heart, So there he came to Vrindavan, started writing the glories of Vrindavan in the form of a poetry. Several songs he wrote in the form of a poetry glorifying Vrindavan. And the Goswamis and the other Vaishnavas, they were so impressed with his writings that they gave him the title Kaviraja. So that is the time where they gave the title Kaviraja. After that, whosoever he stayed there for some time, then they told him, now you have to go to Bengal. Go to Bengal and see how the other devotees are there. Do something in Bengal. So he started off. Immediately started off. No debate, no discussion whether I should go or not. How will I go? Why should I go? No such questions. He immediately accepted and started off for Bengal. He visited different places on the way. Came to Navadip Dham, visited all the Dham, all the Dvipas. Then he also went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house, where by this time Sachi Mata had left, Vishnu Priya had left, everybody had left, and only the house servant was there, you know. And he met that house servant, he hugged him, both of them were recalling the past activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the various leelas. And after meeting there, all these things was over. He was staying there and he met Narottama Das Thakur also there. So Narottama Das Thakur was also met and they were spending time with many things. And he became very close friend of Narottama Das Thakur. So once Narottama Das Thakur and Srinivas Acharya and Ramachandra Kaviraja, when they were walking by the side of the river, they saw that there were two boys, you know. They were herding the goats. So Ramachandra Kaviraja and Narottama Das Thakur asked, "What are you doing here? All this, so much of goats and all?" So they said that our father is going to do a sacrifice of all these goats. And he has told us to collect all these goats and bring, because if we do this sacrifice, then our life will become, हमारा ज़िंदगी उद्धार हो जाएगा. You know, sort of, we'll be prosperous, we'll be able to lead a very nice life. The Durga Devi will be very happy with us and she will bless us to lead a very, very nice, happy life in this world. What they meant was, materially they will be very happy. Then Narottama Das Thakur and Kaviraj, both of them explained to them how horrific such an activities of killing the animals in the name of sacrifice. They talked so much that the boys were very pleased and very impressed with their talking, and they wanted to become their disciples. There was no competition or anything like that between Narottama Das Thakur and Ramachandra Kaviraja. Both of them said, all right, if you want to become a disciple, become disciple. So each one of them initiated one boy, you know, and they became their disciples. It was not that, I will initiate both the boys or you will initiate. No, nothing like that. Both of them said, you initiate one, I will initiate one, and that was over. They initiated boy. And they became his disciples and they were with them, serving them nicely. They were doing all that. Like this, talking, they were converting many people into Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. They were doing that. Another incident of Kaviraj, Ramachandra Kaviraja is about this, their debate with Smarta Brahmanas. So Narottama Das Thakur was initiating many people there, preaching Vaishnava culture, and many people were coming forward and taking initiation from Narottama Das Thakur. Narottama Das Thakur was from a lower caste and he was initiating people from the upper caste, including the Brahmanas. And that was something which was difficult for the Smarta Brahmanas to accept. How a man coming from his lower caste can initiate people from higher caste? So this is not done. This we cannot accept it. We have to stop him immediately. So they go to the king, complain to the king, and the king also says, yes, this is not right. And all the Brahmanas, they all join together and they want to come and crush Narottama Das Thakur. So when they come to the outskirts of the village, they are camping there. In the meantime, the word has reached already Narottama Das Thakur and Ramachandra Kaviraj that these Brahmanas are coming, and the purpose of coming is only to confront you and put you down and say that you are nothing before them. So something has to be done on this. So Narottama Das Thakur, when he was standing there, so at that time Ramachandra Kaviraja is telling Narottama Das Thakur, you don't worry about it. I will take care of this part. You be here. We will take care of it. So Ramachandra Kaviraj, along with a senior disciple of Narottama Das Thakur, what he does is that they devise a plan. And after devising a plan, what they do is they go to the outskirts of a market in tattered clothes, not well dressed or something like that, like a very poor man and all these things. So the village street is there. They are standing on the opposite side of each other on the village street. Ramachandra Kaviraja is selling pots, all the matka. So many matkas he wants to sell, and the senior disciple he is making pan to give it to people to eat. So in the Smarta Brahmanas, they got the morning, even the Smarta Brahmanas, the Brahmanas, all the Smarta Brahmanas also got that morning routine, where they get up very early in the morning, they perform the pujas and all those things they do, they come. So when they came here to the street, because they have to buy vegetables and pots to make the daily prasadam for the bhoga for the Lord and everything, they have to do that. When they come here, Ramachandra Kaviraja, who is a potter and who has dressed up himself like a potter, he started talking to these Smarta Brahmanas. He asked them, from where have you come? Who are you people? What is the purpose of your coming? What do you want? And in what language he talked? He talked in chaste, excellent Sanskrit language he talked. When he started talking in Sanskrit, which was considered to be the sort of a possession of only the great Brahmanas, these Brahmanas were taken aback. A potter, and potter is talking Sanskrit, and that to such a fantastic language, fantastic diction and everything. They are talking so nicely Sanskrit. No grammatical mistakes, nothing. How is it possible for this potter to talk so much? So when they're listening to that, they're asking, who are you? What are you? You are a potter. How did you learn the Sanskrit language, etc.? He is explaining, all these things have been taught to me by Narottama Thakura. Narottama Das has taught me all these things. And not only me, many people have learned all this language, the Sanskrit language. And in fact, all the disciples of Narottama Das, or all the followers of Narottama Das, they all talk only in Sanskrit, and not ordinary Sanskrit. It's a chaste Sanskrit that we all talk. So these Brahmanas were taken aback. Wow, how is it possible? Then what have you learned? Then they talk about, Ramachandra Kaviraja is talking about the Shastras to them. And he is debating with them on the Shastras. This also you have learned? This also Narottama Das has taught us. And we have learned this and we know what it is. When they are talking like this, from the opposite side, the senior disciple of Narottama Das, he calls out this Ramachandra and converses with him in Sanskrit. Wow, they turn back and say, Hare, this Panwala is also talking in Sanskrit? How is it possible that the Panwala also knows this Sanskrit? Who are you? I am also a disciple of Narottama Das Thakura, he says. Wow, you are also a disciple of Narottama Das Thakura. You also talk Sanskrit? Yes, I also talk Sanskrit. Do you know Shastras? Yes, we know Shastras. Let us debate on Shastra. Which one do you want to know? So they start talking so much and they are talking about the glories of the Supreme Lord, this and all. These Brahmanas are taken aback. They are wondering, how is it that a Panwala and a potter, who are considered to be very low in the society, they are able to talk so much about the Shastras, and that too, in what language? In Sanskrit. They are able to talk, debate. They are debating with us, and their points are also correct. There is nothing wrong in what they have said. And all these things they have learned from Narottama Das Thakura. Now they are discussing amongst themselves. If these potters and Panwalas have learned these things from Narottama Das, then how Narottama Das would be in terms of debating? One has to think like that, no? If these disciples who are looks like very low people, they can talk so much on Shastra and they can debate with us, what must be the knowledge of Narottama Das Thakur? Is it worthwhile for us to really take a panga with this man, with this Narottama Das? We need to be really careful about what we are doing. We can't lose our face by going to him. So they decide to go back to the camp. They meet the chief Brahmana priest and explain to him, this is what happened in the market. What do we do now? Better we go back. Let us not meet Narottama Das Thakur. So he says, the chief Brahmin said, we have come all the way up to here. We are just outside, on the outskirts of the village. Let us go inside. Let us meet Narottama Das and see what is what. So they go inside and they start discussing and debating with Narottama Das Thakur. And Narottama Das Thakur smashes all their arguments, quoting from the Shastras, from different places. The entire Gaudiya Sampradaya, Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy is told to the Smarta Brahmanas and everybody. And at the end, all the Smarta Brahmanas become the disciples of Narottama Das Thakur. Narottama Das Thakur ki! They all become the disciples of Narottama Das Thakur. And after that is over, now Ramachandra Kaviraj, I will need another 5 minutes, Prabhu. I will just close it. It's already 9 o'clock. Give me just 5 minutes, I will wind it up. So now Ramachandra Kaviraj is being told to come back to Vrindavan. So he comes back to Vrindavan. And when he comes back to Vrindavan, he is not able to see any of the Goswamis. All the Goswamis have left that place. So he is not able to see any Goswamis. He is not able to see many of the senior Vaishnavas whom he had met before when he first time came to Vrindavan. He is not able to see them also. And they had also left. And on knowing that all these people have left, Goswamis have left, and I don't have really any good association here, he feels very sad and sorrow. And he says, what is the big point in my staying here now anymore? All the great acharyas, they have all left this world. So thinking like this, he sits before the deity, he prays, worships the Lord, he calls out the name of the Lord, and like that only he gives up his body also in Vrindavan. Narottama Das Thakur hears about the departure of his close friend Ramachandra Kaviraj, and he feels very sorry. He is very sad. And in that sorrow, Narottama Das Thakur composes a song in praise of Ramachandra Kaviraj. And that is the glories on Ramachandra Kaviraj. And with that, I will end the session for the day. Thank you very much to all of you for giving a patient hearing. It's not that you do not know these Leelas. You already know it, but in spite of that, you are kind enough to sit and listen to these Leelas. Thank you very much to all of you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Radha Ras Bihari ji ki jai. Hare Krishna. Jai.